Welcome again, everyone. A Russian heavy transport plane carrying several dozen Ukrainian prisoners of war has crashed in Belgorod region, which borders Ukraine. According to Russia's Ministry of Defense, on board were 65 captured Ukrainian army servicemen being transported for exchange, 6 crew members and 3 escorts. There are no survivors as all passengers on board have died. Belgorod regional governor said that he was aware of an incident but gave no further details. Meanwhile, in a separate development, Russia has continued its strikes on Ukraine. A 4-year-old child and 8 other people have been injured in the latest Russian attacks on the city of Kharkiv. On Tuesday, 18 people were killed and 130 others injured across multiple cities in Ukraine. Meanwhile, the United Nations has condemned the latest barrage of Russian strikes across Ukraine. Speaking at the United Nations headquarters in New York, spokesperson for the Secretary General, Stefan Dujarric, delivered the reports of the humanitarian corridor in Ukraine. While the attacks are taking its toll on civilians, he also noted that the strikes in the capital, Kyiv, caused destructions to buildings near the UN offices.
Turning to Ukraine, our humanitarian coordinator in that country, Denise Brown, condemned the latest wave of aerial attacks that took place this morning on Kyiv and Kharkiv, Ukraine's largest urban centers, as well as Pavlograd, which is in Dnipro area. In the capital, Kyiv, the attacks caused damage to civilian buildings just next to the UN offices. Ms. Brown said that civilians who were just preparing for work or getting ready to go to school ended up hospitalized because of the attacks. In Kharkiv, our humanitarian colleagues on the ground tell us that many buildings were impacted and civilians killed and injured as rescuers are trying to find people under the rubble of a residential building. The attacks left tens of thousands of families, businesses, and institutions without electricity this morning. That's what the Energy Ministry is telling our colleagues in Kyiv. Water and gas supplies were also impacted, and on a day where temperatures are below freezing in the city. The attacks also caused loss and destruction in the Dnipro region. Meanwhile, in the east and the south of the country, fierce fighting and hostilities continue to take a heavy toll on civilians. And on the response side, we, along with our partners, are providing emergency assistance, including first aid, psychosocial support, and materials for emergency repairs.
In the meantime, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has made his first public appearance via a video call following hospitalization over complications of a prostate cancer procedure in December. During a conference call of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group in Washington, Mr. Austin called on allies to keep up the support for Kyiv, saying a sovereign and secure Ukraine was critical to global security. He also thanks United States allies for supporting Kyiv and praised Western initiatives in the group.
If we fail to deter other would-be aggressors, we will only invite even more bloodshed and more chaos. So a sovereign and secure Ukraine is critical to global security, and we must not waver in our support for Ukraine. We must continue to focus both on Ukraine's immediate battlefield needs and on helping Ukraine to strengthen, modernize, and sustain its defense forces for the long haul. And that's why the United States hosted the Ukraine Defense Industrial Base Conference in Washington last month with the goal of ushering in a new era of cooperation to meet Ukraine's long-term security needs. Together, our allies and partners have established 6 capability coalitions to support Ukraine's Air Force, ground-based air defenses, artillery, maritime security, demining, and information technology. And so we've made impressive progress since our last meeting. And I'm proud that the United States is co-leading the Artillery Capability Coalition along with France, and also co-leading the Air Force Capability Coalition alongside Denmark and the Netherlands. And that's just another reminder of how much we can do when we come together.
And some cheering news. Turkey's parliament has ratified Sweden's NATO membership bid, clearing the biggest remaining hurdle to expanding the Western military alliance after 20 months of delay. Turkey's General Assembly, where President Tayyip Erdogan's ruling alliance holds a majority, voted 287-255 to approve the application that Sweden made in 2022 to bolster its security in response to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The vote was the second step of Turkey's ratification process after the Parliament's Foreign Affairs Commission approved the bid last month. President Erdogan can now sign the protocol into law. All NATO members need to approve applications from countries seeking to join the alliance. When Sweden and Finland asked to join in May 2022, Turkey raised objections over what it said was the two countries' protection of groups it deems terrorists. The VOA's Anna Chernikova joins us now from Kyiv. Anna, great to see you today.
Good evening.
Right, so what are authorities saying about the Russian military plane crash? Has an investigation begun into this? What was it, an incident or a targeted attack?
First of all, I would like to say that Ukrainian officials and the first reaction from the Ukrainian officials was right after the accident happened, and particularly Dmytro Lubinets, who is Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights, said that all the details of this incident is being clarified and investigated, and basically he said that he did not deny, but he did not confirm as well. Then a bit later during the day, we've got confirmed information from the Ukrainian intelligence service that this is true, that for today Russia and Ukraine were planning the prisoners swap, the prisoners exchange, and that it is not happening because of what happened with the Russian plane. Now, information just came in from the intelligence service of Ukraine. Basically, what was reported by the Ukrainian intelligence officials that, according to the arrangements for this prisoner swap, Ukrainian side fulfilled all the obligations, while Russian side did not provide apparently safety for Ukrainian prisoners of war, and did not deliver them to the point where they were supposed to be exchanged. So Ukrainian side confirmed that Russian prisoners were delivered to the point, while Ukrainians did not. They do not confirm if it's not clear at this point. There is no additional confirmation if it's true that Ukrainian prisoners of war indeed were on board of that plane, because according to Ukrainian intelligence, they were not informed of how Ukrainian prisoners of war would be transferred to the exchange point, because normally it's either happening via air or land, like vehicle transport or train. And according to Ukrainian intelligence, again, if this is the case, that Ukrainian prisoners of war were on board of this plane, and this plane was the route of this plane was taking place in the 30-kilometer zone, fighting zone, basically border zone between Ukraine and Russia, and this is air zone that Ukraine considers as eligible target, because all the military transportations by Russian forces are happening in that area as well, and like missiles and all this kind of other different equipment. So Ukraine considers this as a target, and Russian forces supposed to inform if there is additional need for safety of this area. In case they need to transport like prisoners of war, or in other cases which agreed between two sides. So according to Ukrainian intelligence, if this is the case, that Ukrainian prisoners of war were on board of that plane, it could be a certain action by Russian forces. Again, this is what Ukrainian officials are saying, that this could be done, possibly was done on purpose in order to demonstrate and to accuse Ukrainian side of acting the way that they're not supposed to, and to basically demonstrate that Ukraine to the international society that Ukrainians do not follow the rules. But again, this is preliminary information that we have, and this is just in. So there is still no confirmation if any prisoners of war were indeed on board of that plane. And additionally, there is no, at this point, understanding of what's going to happen with this prisoners exchange, if it will take place later on, or if it will be put on hold.
Right. And, you've spoken about Ukraine's immediate reactions to this. Russia as well, the other side, has accused Ukraine of downing the military plane that crashed in Belgorod region, calling it a barbaric act. So as you have, with all you've said, we don't really know who's responsible for this, with each side blaming each other. How thorough, do these investigations get to actually know who's behind this kind of action, especially because there are claims that Ukrainian prisoners were on board that plane, a claim that you have just said has not been verified?
Well, it will definitely take some time. First of all, because we might get more details from Russian authorities, because this is what happened on their territory and they have the full access. At the same time, as it looks and as usually happens, it will take much longer for Ukrainian and international officials to confirm what was happening. And of course, for Russian side, they will try to present this incident from their perspective, and Ukrainians would definitely do the same, but they will need additional, access. Well, not access, of course, they're not going to get access, but at least additional details on what happened, and probably intelligence service will be responsible for this report. But anyway, according to General Staff of Ukraine, this area is Ukrainian military, as I already said, considers this as a legitimate target because military transportation is happening in that area, and the investigation should demonstrate if this was on purpose actions by Russian forces, that they basically did not ask for additional safety because the prisoners of war were transported through this route, or there were no prisoners of war on board, and Ukrainian forces basically hit the plane with missiles or with any other military equipment, according to what General Staff said. So again, General Staff did not confirm that Ukrainian hit the plane, but they confirmed that this area in the sky, in the Russian sky, is a legitimate target for Ukrainian forces because it is used for transportation routes.
Right. So the essence of this is that it could have been, Ukrainian defense forces hitting their own, people, not knowing that there was anyone on the plane. But supposing that, there were Ukrainian prisoners on that plane, it's a huge blow for the defense in Ukraine. Has there been any word from the Ukrainian president about this?
Not yet. Again, it is. I have a feeling that Ukrainian president is waiting for additional details. It might be that he will give his comment in his daily evening speech. We will be waiting for that and follow that, because of course, if so, it's really at this point it's really difficult to say because, of course, for Ukraine, it doesn't look that Ukraine planned this on purpose. As you correctly said, it could be that it was an incident, and at the same time, at this point, we also don't have a particular confirmation who hit the plane. So it really would take time, and we'll see if President Zelensky will comment on this today. But definitely, this is a very serious incident that happened, and it is clear that both sides will try to use this incident to prove their own points.
Right, and while that crash was happening, Anna, there was a separate Russian strike on the city of Kharkiv. What is the latest on that particular attack? We know that 8 people were injured, including a child.
Yes, exactly. Actually, the city of Kharkiv is one of the most shelled city for the past months by Russian forces because of its close location to the border with Russia. And actually, General Staff, when commenting on today's crash of the plane, mentioned that this particular route is used to transport the missiles which are used to shell the city of Kharkiv and Kharkiv region in particular. So this also basically has this, certain connection. The city of Kharkiv was under shelling the whole day on January 23rd, yesterday. Literally the whole day. It started early in the morning, in the dawn on January 23rd, and finished very late in the evening. There were at least 3 massive shellings of the city. At this point, we have confirmation from the local authorities that scientific building was very heavily damaged. All windows were broken. The facade of the building is burned, and the damages of the inside of the building are also terrible. And there is confirmation of at least 9 people injured, including a 4-year-old child. Also, the attack that happened yesterday, earlier in the morning and during the day, took life of people, and thousands remain under medical assistance. And the work on debris removal just finished a couple of hours ago.
Right, and it is a conflict that's affecting the entire region. So let's switch gears to Ukraine's NATO membership bid. We see the Turkish parliament approving Sweden's bid to join NATO. What's the fate of Kyiv? Is the elephant still in the room blocking the bid? Well, I'm talking about Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban.
I should say that, of course, Ukrainian bid to join NATO is still on the very early stage, because we understand that the full-scale war is ongoing, and it is difficult to move fast in this direction. And Ukraine, it definitely didn't have enough time to prepare completely for that. It might take years or at least months. So, it looks like years, but Ukraine is working in that direction. It's not that much on the public surface at this point. So President Zelensky particularly, and Ukrainian officials as well, confirmed that the work is ongoing, that Ukraine is getting ready and preparing its military legislation and legislation in general, in order to be able to proceed with this bid. And definitely Ukraine needs to change a lot and to improve a lot in order to actually get to the point of joining and to get to this final stage of negotiations. Also, we understand that there are countries which are either not sure about what they're gonna, if they're gonna support or not. And some countries, as you mentioned, the Hungary particularly, saying that they're not going to support. But again, as we can see, what happened with the vote for Ukraine to start negotiation on the EU membership, all this is negotiable, and the decision is made internally, mostly internally between the countries. So it's definitely in place. So definitely Ukraine is working in that direction. We cannot predict how long will it take for Ukraine, but I think that it might be that we will get some additional information and insights on that, and official comments on that sometimes sooner or later. But Ukrainian, again, as I said, Ukrainian officials just reported that the work is ongoing, but no new details were emerged recently.
Anna, thank you for that update, and please stay safe.
Thank you.